Masturbation.
Why are you watching?
What the fuck is that? Dude, we can't afford a John Williams fanfare. That shit's expensive.
Ah, fuck it. Just start the show.
Picture of an aborted fetus.
Paulie's
wearing
going
a
next.
bus.
Paulie, you got a story.
Paulie's
have
got
a
a story, and he's going next.
And it has to do with taxes. And it has to do with transportation.
Okay.
In particular. Because I've got a friend at work who always talks about having to sit on this brand new highway, waiting for traffic to go through. And I was just driving under the overpass 29 on Packerland on the way here, and sure as shit, 29 was almost come to a standstill where they're all, I don't know what was going on up there, an accident or whatever. But it seems to me that now it turns out that we really don't have any money for the infrastructure, and both federal government and state government are borrowing money to build these highways, and the federal government's come up short.
That's a surprise.
A big shortage, which means that all these, we've been assured that all these projects are going to be finished, but it's going to take years. I just have, my question to you is, what should we do as far as taxes go? How should we get the money to build our infrastructure?
Okay, for the record, 29 was too slow because 41 was too slow because Smitty's ignited like a motherfucker. You could see the smoke in Pulaski.
Okay, this is one day. I'm talking
I'm
about...
just
understand,
saying, today, that was the reason. The other reason is because
because they were too slow. This is tonight on the way here.
Yeah, they were too slow when I came home.
Yeah, Main Street is still closed. They were planning on keeping it closed till tomorrow morning.
Cool.
Is what they said when I left the house.
But the highway, and it's the first time I saw 29, but that's what made me think about it. But 41 every day is to a very slow crawl.
I think
people going home or people coming into town.
I think part of the problem though is people whine and piss and moan that they need the highway up instead of detouring around it. So they always leave one lane, and you got a clusterfuck bottleneck of cocksuckers trying to merge and trying to get on.
But that wasn't the issue. The issue is, anybody have any ideas on what we can do to get more taxes?
Close down the fucking lane so
Then
they don't have
you
to do something.
Be excused for something?
No, I have an idea.
If they would,
good. That's all.
Can you fire? Just let me throw this out here real quick.
I'm letting you.
If they would actually shut down the section of road that needs to be worked on, instead of doing part of it and then closing down the next lane to do the other part of it, and then having to close it back down to redo the first part of it to go back over what they did so they could get it to join together functionally. And that would go back on to what Pete had said a bunch of episodes ago that I don't even know if I made it on there, of making the construction companies responsible for the road.
Holy crap, he remembered. That's exactly what I do have a solution for this, Paul.
And I agree what you're saying, but see, the thing is, it's not just closing down the highway for the construction. They're taking the construction, which was supposed to be done in 2017, and now stretching it out to 2020.
Right, but
because they don't have enough money.
But instead of closing down 2 lanes to get a stretch done, let's just say 2 city blocks worth of road done from exit to exit or whatever, they close down 1 lane. So they fix that lane, and it's the narrow portion of it, so semis and shit can get on the other lane. Then they closed down the big lane, and they extended the shoulder on this one, so now everybody's on this one. Well, this one's closed down, and then they have to close back down this one to get it right, because shit isn't meshing together. So there's like a double dip on them not doing it the actual right way. So if they do it the right way and block it down, they'd actually save money to get it done.
But the right way would be to have it done by 2017, like they said, instead of saying we have a shortage of money. Now it's going to... So you're talking about closing down that highway not just till 2017, you're talking about closing down that highway till 2020.
Right.
What I'm saying is, where do we get the money? How do we come up with the money to get the construction done when it's supposed to be done?
I got that.
You're going to handle that when Ben's done?
He's going to handle that.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you know where I'm going with that.
I hear you. Well, first off, we used to back in the day, route traffic to the other side of the highway and turn that into a 2-lane road to stop this from happening.
Yep.
Because then you could work on the whole fucking highway at once.
Yep.
I just want to point out, we used to do that. We were smart at one time. So first off, my answer to you is twofold. First, we don't need pretty brick facades on the side of the goddamn highway.
Exactly.
Before you continue, I believe Oneida fronted a
Some
lot,
of the
if
money.
not.
Some of the money for
Some of the money.
for particular overpasses. They didn't do all of it. The state pays a big portion of that.
Yeah, they just did the design ones, right? Like the one on Taylor and Lawrence.
Right, close
And on the side of the highway that's technically in Oneida.
Okay. I was just double checking. Full seat.
The other thing that I wanted to point out is I have lived in Green Bay now for 20 years, almost. And Highway 41 has been closed for construction every fucking one of those years. So if you're telling me that you're running out of money, my answer to you is you have already spent enough money on that highway that the son of a bitch should be paved in platinum because it's stronger than gold. So we could be more cost effective with our repair.
Well, you know why Highway 41 was closed every year? They built the bridges too high, and every year they have to adjust. They have to fix those onto the bridge sort of ramps.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Just last year they proved they're self-adjusting. A section of the Leo Frigo dropped what? 3 fucking feet?
Yeah.
3 feet. They're self-adjusting. You know that.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying.
But that's 43. We're talking about 41.
When you talk about money shortage, I didn't realize that was the issue.
That's the issue.
Well,
they
then I
ran
would
out of money
say-
and have to stretch everything out.
Pete's answer will probably fix your bridge issue.
I know the other
Before you go back on Pete, I also want to point out, I don't know if you've been on 29 lately, but except for the easy on, easy offs, they are grading up about 1 inch, 2 inches of concrete and putting asphalt over it. Because it's cheaper. Just so you guys know, in case you didn't know.
in the short term.
In the short term, in the long term, it's going to be more expensive.
Right. And actually, on those easy on, easy offs, there's asphalt and then concrete over it.
Do you
And
understand?
Just so you
a
know.
great example of that, I don't know if Paulie and Pete have driven it, but I know Tim has. Drive 54 to Algoma. Motherfucker is terrible in Brown County.
Yeah, until you get to Kewanee County.
And there's smooth sailing.
Okay. This will probably be the only time I'm going to say this. Go get him, Pete!
All right.
Get him!
So, first of all, and I'm surprised you didn't notice this before with some of the things, but the money isn't there right now because when money gets short in the budget, the first thing that they cut is transportation. And the reason that they do that is because people complain most about their roads. Okay? So if they get them all up in arms about transportation, they need more money for the transportation budget. People are like, well, yeah, we would do that. Not the fact that we're wasting a ton of money on a ton of other programs, which I don't want to really go into. But,
Right, don't.
but I'm just saying, your money is there, okay? It's just being diverted from what it was supposed to be used for because we have a deficit in our government right now. Okay, so that's one. Two, this goes on to the thing that we were talking about, like you said, I don't know how long ago, but I mean, and I hate to use the Europeans as an example, but their
In one case,
Autobahn,
they do good.
they don't have these problems because when a construction company goes in there, they have to guarantee their work for a number of years. And it's not just 2 or 3. It's 5, 10, 12, something like that. I'm not sure, okay? So they do better engineering. When they put the highway in and everything, they put the highway in for long term. So they bid for long term because they have to maintain this now at their cost. Okay, unless there's some kind of weird accident or something like that. But if it's normal wear and tear, they got to pay for it. We need to go to that thing in Wisconsin, or not only in Wisconsin, but the United States,
that's
because
what I'm saying.
our
Overall,
construction industry that does roads is the biggest rigged, kickback-paying bunch of people that there is. And we spend trillions of dollars over not a very long time on our highways.
Just on Belt to Mason.
Yeah, geez.
Goddamn.
It seems like it, right? So that's where it goes back to. So put the transportation budget and leave the money there, okay, so that it stays funded, so that they don't keep perpetuating this construction project, and make the construction companies, when they bid that they have to maintain this road for whatever, 8 years, 12 years, whatever it is. And because I'll tell you what, the Autobahn has the same kind of temperature fluctuations and problems that we have in this area.
I will disagree with you on that statement.
They're a little warmer than we are.
Germany's not.
That's
Yeah,
not.
it is.
That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say the Autobahn deals with a lot more
And
more fluctuations because they don't have a speed limit, so the road
Right, and they
But
have more time.
Germany's
Yep.
about, because that's why the Volkswagen Beetle didn't have a heater in it, or a fan, I should say. The Super Beetles did, but because Germany is roughly about 30 degrees warmer than we are.
Well, than the northern part of the Autobahn. Europe has roughly the similar
They
climate
have,
to what
they
we
have
do.
similar climate, but Germany, that's why when they built the Volkswagen, they didn't put a fan in it. They didn't have, the only heater is if you
Sure.
just turn it on. It's airflow, because they're much warmer than we are. Because if you've ever driven a Volkswagen, you get this small back because you're just staring through this little tiny hole and you're kind of like driving like this. That was because the reason that
Okay.
Germany is a little warmer.
Fair
than
enough.
us.
But these highways can be engineered for long-term sustainability, and when we look at them from a long term, they would cost us a lot. It would cost a lot less money
Right.
if we were bidding and if we were holding our contractors
And building
up
them
to and making them. You know, don't let them turn around and go bankrupt and open up another company. Then again, too, like the furniture places do around here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what we have to do to fix that. I mean, it's a huge drain on our economy, and there's no reason for it other than greed.
Considering we have one of the highest tax rates added to gasoline in the United States,
Well-
just for the DOT.
Which, by the way, gas prices are going up again because oil prices dropped.
Yeah. Well, actually, gas is going up because BP says they're having a problem with one of their
Their
refineries
facilities
in
in-
Illinois. So we
Right.
got to raise the price up. Some CEO
Indiana, it's in
farted.
Indiana.
Indiana? Okay.
That's going to be changing.
It's one of those I states. And Pete, I'd hate to contradict you. You know how much I hate to contradict you, but as far as the money being there, and I just heard this recently, so maybe you haven't heard it, but the gas tax does not pay enough money into the transportation fund to build all these roads we are building. So
Oh, I know.
whether
That's
they're
not what I'm
taking it out,
No.
okay, but I'm saying the fact is, if they left the money there
and
if
not
they didn't
build a
touch
Buck
it,
Stadium.
and not build the
That's a local thing versus a federal thing.
Thanks, Tim. And this is a federal thing.
Right.
They're the
Which
ones
has
that
nothing
are
to do with the
saying
Bucks.
they're the ones saying that the money isn't there to begin with. So even if they weren't taking money out, they still wouldn't have enough.
But the
money.
reason the money isn't there is for exactly what I told you.
You said because they're taking it out.
All right.
The federal government is.
The budget for transportation that the federal government makes, part of that budget is made up of the proceeds from the gas tax. The rest of it comes from the same place all the rest of our money for federal budgets come from.
Income tax, death tax.
But
You know what I'm
the
saying?
point is, regardless, even if they weren't taking the money out, what I'm saying is the money isn't there. Even if they didn't touch it, there's not enough money there.
Right, because so when the
country
government
opposite's at a deficit. That's
right,
the
because
problem.
the government bets on how much taxes they're going to take in the next year when
Right.
they make the budget. That bet fell short because they suck at it. Okay.
And they have for a long time.
Doesn't
So what I'm saying though is what they've robbed the transportation budget first because
Okay,
it'll put
but it
people
doesn't
up in
matter
arms.
because they're okay. What my
Don't
question?
do that.
My original
Rob
question.
something else.
Let's go back to my original question. What do you think we should do? Should we raise gas taxes?
No.
Should we put
No,
up,
we should cut programs and giving money to a
But-
whole bunch
but-
of other
but
countries
the-
that.
But the money you said that's coming out of the transportation budget wouldn't pay for the budget anyway. Can
Yeah,
I go to
okay.
the bathroom again, Ben?
No, I'm trying to be respectful. I will tell you where we get the money from. First of all, We stopped foreign aid to
Okay,
any
nobody
country,
told me we
or
had
did
to
you
be
have some?
respectful.
Before you start this, I actually have a question on the federal
Okay.
transportation fund. It's not just federal money, though, right? The state also has
The
to
state
provide.
has to
The
provide
state
some.
kicks some in, but it's
I'm
It's
just
mostly
asking.
federal.
But
I'm
This
just
is
asking.
chunk
US
of it
Highway
comes from the
41,
federal
which is why it's a
government.
federal
Yeah.
issue.
Right. Okay. I was just asking to make sure because.
right.
First off, we stopped sending foreign aid to any country that regularly says, I hate America.
Or just any country.
And we stopped subsidizing Brazilian sheep farmers.
Why? Oh, wait, never mind. My Fruit of the Looms doesn't come from Brazil anymore. It comes from Pakistan. Go ahead. You're right. You're absolutely
Unless those Brazilian sheep farmers have a full Brazilian, happen to be female,
What's
tend
a-
their sheep in the nude,
What
and do
is
so
a
on a
full
webcam
Brazilian?
that American citizens can log into for free. I don't want to subsidize. We actually do subsidize Brazilian sheep farmers.
I'm not sure I want to see them naked.
Brazilian girls?
Oh, girls, sure.
Right, female. If
Are
they're
they the
all
ones doing it?
female
Okay.
with the full Brazilian wax.
All right.
Right, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
We're
is this-
spending money on foreign aid, and we
cut
rob that
the
money.
pieces
So-
out of the. So take the money out
So
of
what
the
you're saying,
stuff
that
we
money,
don't need.
take that money and put it in the transportation
Yes.
bill.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, or to make up the deficit, instead of robbing the transportation part of the budget, rob those.
Okay,
Stop sending
but
money
like
there.
I said, the
Yeah.
transportation budget wouldn't be there anyway,
Or-
even if they stopped
Whoa.
robbing it.
Hey, you could stop monitoring my cell phone calls because I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm not a terrorist. I can state that because I'm too lazy, even if I was ideologically inclined.
Yeah. Like you're gonna get your ass out of your chair and go over to is and
Right,
fight
fuck that.
fight the Christian.
But so that money that
Infidels.
we no longer need to give the NSA to monitor my cell phone, put that in the transportation fund.
There's a lot of things they.
Why don't we, like Illinois, has tolls?
That was the other option.
No, because here's the thing: the federal, because
only for people from Illinois.
the tolls in Illinois are only on interstate highways. First of all, they are not on U.S. highways. You can drive US 41 into Illinois without paying a toll. I don't know if you know that. It's only I-94 that goes Wisconsin, Illinois, the 8th tolls. And when the interstate system was put in, there were several mandates. It was Ike, I think, who did it. First off, so much of it has to be straight so it can be used as an emergency landing strip for airplanes.
So who'd have thought at the time when
But
they
I-
came up with that, and it has been used.
You're right,
several-
but that's why it'll be curvy as shit, and then for a while it's deadpan straight.
That
But
is an example of someone thinking before something happens.
they were
Back
given
then,
a choice.
right?
You're talking the 50s there.
They were given a choice. Either you get federal funding to help maintain that road, or you could make it a tollway for the interstates. Wisconsin said the federal government can give us money to tend these roads. We're not putting up toll booths. Illinois said, fuck you, we're going to make more money on people going into Chicago. We're putting up toll booths.
You're making
That's
a lot
why
of money on
Illinois gets
people
toll
coming
booths and
into
we don't.
Wisconsin. Why don't we put them up down there and make?
Because we'd have to give
Because
up money
they
to
pay both ways.
we'd have to give up money to fund any highway with an I in front of it.
You mean the money that the federal government's not giving us anyway?
Correct.
There, okay.
It's also the reason we raised our drinking age to 21 because the federal government
That
said if you
yeah,
don't,
because there was
we're
called the
taking away
blood
the money
border
from
when
the-
we were still 18.
Right.
Yep.
the federal government said if you don't raise your drinking
That was
age
Ronald
to 21,
Reagan that did that.
So I think we have a plan.
we have a
We
plan.
know where the funding can come from.
Okay. That's
So-
just what I wanted to know.
That's what we should do. It'll never happen because
Nope.
the construction companies have too much political clout.
You know what they'll do? They'll raise the gas taxes.
Right.
which is why they're
Or raise the speed limit
And
so we
people-
spend more on gas.
Right, and people will be fine because they don't want their highways down. When
That's
they
right.
don't want, when they don't think about the fact is you could cut other places. in
Even
the
though they raise the gas tax, their highways are always going to be down because they're always going to be doing construction because we don't have enough money to.
budget. Well, it's
finish the
not. Well,
construction
and because they do shitty construction.
I like that idea of making the construction company responsible for the highway for a certain number
have
of
to,
years.
Right.
after,
The state always goes to the lowest bidder.
Right.
It has
But
to.
if you
Well,
tell
feds
them
do too.
flat out, if you tell them flat out,
I-43, when the Leo Frigo went down, it had to go to the lowest bidder.
Right, but if you say you're responsible for 10 years,
Right, I
your lowest
understand.
bid is not going to be the bids that they put in.
Well,
Yep.
you know, and the lowest bid's going to go lower now because they are working. I don't know if they passed it or they're working on a law that is going to wipe out that minimum wage in the construction area for bidding. I can't remember what it's called, but
Oh, for like when you're working a government job, you get
Right.
a huge ass amount of money.
you get they're trying to take that away. That's only in the state. That's not the federal government. That's
Right.
our state government. So that the bids are lower and the construction's even crappier. And even though it's got nothing to do with the manpower,
Here's
they're
it.
just going to give you another reason that, well, okay, we're not going to use this rebar through here because, well, we bid it too low for that. So
I think we just need to make these people drive Highway 54 from the 54-57 interchange.
yeah, how many congressmen
fucking
and
wall
senators take that route?
Nobody. But that's who needs to drive it.
Just come off of what the is it 41 or 54? Is it 54, 57 as it comes into Green Bay and University?
Yeah.
Just drive that son of a bitch. Don't accelerate on that fucking road.
No.
You're fucked.
Oh, and it's ridiculous because you hit that smooth part and you're like, "Hey kids, how are you?" All of a sudden, I sound like Audrey fucking Hepburn. I'm like, I'm gonna have to call Uncle Tim to get new shocks in. Good thing we put new bushings in the front of this fucker. Holy balls! I actually said to the kids, I can't wait till winter when the road's smooth again.
So are we good on this one?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Is it a voting thing or just a
I
talking
don't know
thing?
that it was a voting thing. It was a talking thing.
Okay.
It was a good one though.
It was.